Hey, what's up guys, it's Summer talking to you here, and today I want to cover the Apple March event. Wait, is it going to be in March? Is it going to be on April? We don't know, but according to Mark Gurman, we're going to see an Apple Spring event this year in 2022. So that's the most exciting thing that we got right now for the foreseeable future, because Apple hasn't released a product in a very long time. Let's talk about months, because I mean months since Apple released its last products, so we don't have a lot to talk about, although there's some news and some tech news that are actually very interesting. But in this video I will cover everything that will come out on Apple's spring event. It could be on March or April. Last year Apple did it on April, but normally they do on March. Don't forget that last year we had delays for about 1 month in every event, so I do expect Apple to make a March event instead of an April event. So yes, it's not a leak, yes, it's just a prediction, but you can count on me. I'm telling you, I do believe it will be on March. But if you get it on April, then it's fine too. The month difference won't make a lot of differences. But in this video, I will cover everything that will come out since the iPhone SE and other iPhones, and of course the Mac's new Apple Silicon that we will see in this Apple March event, and of course a new iPad also. So no further ado, don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you, we are almost at 400 subscribers, on 1 subscriber to go, so please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to subscribe and roll the intro. For the first product of today that I think will come out on March, let's talk about the iPad Air, shall we? The iPad Air, for me, it's the most boring iPad of the lineup. I do think that the iPad Air is extremely boring in its upcoming state. Even though the iPad Air is cheaper than the iPad Pro and more expensive than the iPad Mini, it's even worse than the iPad Mini. So it's actually cheaper than the iPad Pro, but it's worse than the iPad Pro, and it's more expensive than the iPad Mini, but it's only bigger, not better. So in my opinion, the iPad Air right now sits in a very weird place on Apple's lineup. And no, I do not recommend you buy the iPad Air. Right now, it sucks. It's a pretty bad deal. But Apple will upgrade it to match the iPad Mini standards. So it will have an A15 chip, it will have a quad true tone LED at the back, so it will have a flash, and of course it will have the new 12 megapixel center stage camera that the cheaper iPad does have, and the iPad Mini also has, and the iPad Pros also have. So finally it will catch up with the iPad Mini and the rest of the iPad lineup in this sense. But it will keep its LCD 10.9-inch screen. No OLED display like other analysts have talked about from the iPad Air receiving. According to Mark Gurman, Min-Chi Kuo, or even Ross Young, we will only see an OLED display on 2024 or even 2023 iPad Airs. I believe though Apple will start by the iPad Air, and maybe in the future Apple will add it to the iPad Pros. But now I do think that Apple will keep the LCD around for 1 more year, and so we will still see the liquid retina display that we see on the iPad Air 6th generation coming next year, or this year in case. But of course this liquid retina display is so good that you won't notice almost any differences. But if you do really need or really care about an OLED display, wait for 1 more year or even 2 and you will get your desired iPad Air. But in its current form, I don't think that the iPad Air is worth it, and even after all of these upgrades, I do think that the iPad Air sits in a very weird place on the lineup, because you can get a refurbished iPad Pro for less, and it's way better because it has 120 Hz ProMotion display, it has quad speakers, and it has a better chip in some ways and worse in other ways. Like the A15 is better than the A12X in terms of single tasks, because the single core are way faster. But in terms of multi-core tasks, I do think that the A12X is on par or even a little bit better than this A15 chip. But of course, if you do prefer a newer generation device, or do you prefer a new device, then this current iPad Air that is coming on March seems to be a good deal, if you do think that the iPad Mini size is very small for you. But if you don't, then I recommend the iPad Mini. It's more fun, it's smaller, more portable, and for everything that you want to do on iPad OS, it's very fine. So yeah, we are seeing an iPad Air 7th generation on March, and of course it will come in very colorful colors like the other iPad Airs. We will see green, probably blue, probably the same colors that we see right now on the 6th generation iPad Air from 2020. Then we will see the iPhone SE. Yes, according to Gurman, the iPhone SE, it's the main product and the main show of this event. It will get 5G, and that's it. That's done. That's the iPhone 5G. Yes, iPhone 5G. According to Gurman or other leakers, this iPhone will be called iPhone SE 5G. Jesus, that's weird. iPhone SE plus 5G. So it's quite weird. I think that this is a weird naming scheme. But if you look at Samsung phones and other Android phones that are cheaper, you can see that they are called Samsung S21 FE plus 5G. So yeah, you can see that other brands like to use the 5G naming on their naming phones, cheaper phones by the way, because it attracts people when they are buying cheaper phones. Oh, this one has 5G. So they know this one has 5G and they go in to buy it. So I think that's the Apple strategy on this iPhone SE. I do believe that they will call it the iPhone SE 5G. Yes, it's weird, but that's my prediction, and you can come back to this video in a few months and tell me that I'm right. Yes, I'm almost 100% sure that Apple will call it iPhone SE 5G. But this is a very boring iPhone. It will keep the same 4.7-inch display LCD panel from the iPhone 8 that we see now on the iPhone SE 2020. It will have the A15 chip, and the battery life will be insanely bad, because right now it's bad with the A13 and with no 5G. But imagine that you put an A15 chip, a more power-hungry chip, although it's very efficient still, it's a little bit more power-hungry than the A13, and you give it, of course, the 5G capabilities. This will kill your battery in seconds, in my opinion, because the battery life from the iPhone 8 sucks, and with a more powerful chip and 5G, man, oh man, I expect this phone to have the worst battery life on an iPhone in a very long time. If you thought that the iPhone 12 mini had a bad battery, gosh, imagine this phone. So, of course, if you do like the iPhone SE and you want to be more future-proof, okay, it's a good choice for you. It's only about $300. I do think that Apple will lower the price though. There are some rumors that Apple will put it at $250, but I do think that $250 is very, very cheap for an iPhone. So I do believe Apple will lower the price from $399 to $300. So let's see if I'm right on this one too, because reusing the same design and just adding 5G just gives Apple an excuse to lower the price and tell everyone, now the cheapest iPhone starts at $300. Because you can get an iPhone 11 for only $499, and that's a way better phone than the iPhone SE. So of course, I do think that Apple will try to lower the price of entry of the Apple ecosystem with this cheap iPhone that will enable you to buy other Apple accessories like the Apple Watch, AirPods, or even the iPad Pros or even more Macs. Then of course you will get stuck in this Apple ecosystem and you will end up spending even more money, and in the future you will upgrade to a better iPhone. So this is just the bridge, the entry point to the Apple's web ecosystem. So of course I do believe that the iPhone SE will be cheaper this year, and it will be called the iPhone SE 5G with probably the same three colors: red, black and white. Of course, this is not the only iPhone that we will see on this Apple March event, and you are probably thinking, no way, are you going to see the Apple iPhone 14? Nope. That's going to be a new iPhone 13. Yes, we'll get a new color for the iPhone 13 lineup. For the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 13, we'll probably see a purple iPhone 13. Because last year, with the iPhone 12, we had the purple iPhone 12, and in the beginning, with the first time we saw this iPhone 11 purple. So again, I do believe that we will see a purple iPhone 13 or other color, the color that Apple decides to release this year. But yes, we will see a new color of the iPhone 13s, it's rumored, and so Apple will release this mid-cycle color to try to bump up the sales again and give it a new fresh look to the iPhone 13 lineup. Of course, the Pros will keep the same colors, but in my opinion, we should get even more colors for the Pro phones. Give me some, I don't know, that rumored color of copper, give it that. That will be insanely cool. And would I switch? Nope. Will I try and see in the person? Definitely yes. So yeah, I do prefer and I do love this idea that Apple just releases new colors mid-cycle and just makes it more fun to watch. I do prefer that Apple, and I would like that Apple to release a new color for the Pro phones. And so right now I would like to see a new iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max with this color. Yes, please Apple, bring it on March. Although I'm not confident, and it's just my opinion, not a prediction even, it's just an opinion, it's just a wish, no links for that. So again, I'm expecting an iPhone 13 purple and an iPhone SE 5G. To finalize this Apple March event, I do believe that Apple will release new Macs with Apple Silicon. Macs that we haven't seen before with Apple Silicon and introduce them for the first time. I'm talking about the new iMacs, of course, the 27-inch iMac Pro. This iMac Pro with gasps, because this iMac Pro won't be a Pro device. Like, it will be a 27-inch iMac, just a replacement for the 27-inch Intel machine that we have right now. It will cost probably and start to cost around $2,000, and it will have the same design as the cheaper 24-inch M1 iMac. So this 24-inch iMac, it's very fun, it has white bezels, it has the M1 chip, and so this 27-inch device will be more geared to pros, so it will have more pro colors, like Apple likes to call them, space gray, silver, and it will have the M1 Pro and M1 Max chip. It will keep the same chin design, it will have an insanely good speakers, it will have a ton of I/O, Thunderbolt 4 ports, USB-C ports, maybe USB-A ports, maybe more headphone jacks and Ethernet ports. It will have an insanely good I/O. And yes, I do believe that it will have an SD card slot, and of course, we are expecting this iMac Pro to come with even more options than the current M1 Pro and M1 Max chip. There's no very solid leaks about it, but if we see a Pro lineup inside this iMac 27-inch, it will be called the iMac Pro. It will have an even better screen, and talking about the screen, these screens for these iMac Pros or the iMac 27-inch, whatever you want to call it, will be ProMotion capable. So they will be able to go from 10 Hz to 120, just like these MacBook Pros with the M1 Max and M1 Pro chip that I have right now. These are 120 Hz ProMotion displays. They are amazing, they are very fast, very fluid, and you can almost notice the difference when compared to other computers. Of course, if you go and use your iPhone, then the 120 Hz will be more noticeable because it's a smaller display and it has a touch input. But if you compare this device 120 Hz to my iPad Pro's ProMotion, which is from 2018, it's way more noticeable here, maybe because it's a mini LED ProMotion capable display, and of course this iMac Pro will have also a mini LED 120 Hz ProMotion display. So everything on this ProMotion iMac Pro will be up to par with these MacBook Pros, with probably a better option for the chip because the thermal design is way better. Although with the M1 iMac we didn't see a more powerful M1 just because we had a better thermal design. No more performance was juiced out of that chip. So if we end up having a dual M1 Max chip and M1 Max option, it will be very expensive, and it will be coming on the M1 Pro variant of the iMac 27-inch. But let's see what will happen. This iMac Pro, I'm very excited for it, but it's not the only Mac we will see on the Apple March or April event. I think that we will also see an M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini. Finally, we will see this device. It will be more expensive than we are thinking, but it will have an M1 Pro and M1 Max chip. Of course, it will be very powerful as the iMac Pro and these MacBook Pros. It will be the best device for you. If you don't need to spend a ton of money, it will probably start at $1,500, $1,300, but it will have only the computer. You will have to buy the keyboard, the mouse, and the display apart. So when factoring all of these things, maybe buying the iMac Pro or the iMac 27-inch, whatever you want to call it, will be a better choice. But having a Mac Mini with the M1 Pro chip starting at $1,300, it will be one of the best, nor the best deal in tech ever. And so I'm very excited to see what Apple releases with the Mac Mini. It was rumored to be released together with these MacBook Pros, but then some leaks say that there were delays in the production line, and so they were delayed for the next event. In my opinion, I think that Apple didn't want to cannibalize the sales of these computers because they were more expensive, and if Apple increasing the prices on their MacBook Pros and then release a cheaper Mac Mini, everyone would opt out by that Mac Mini. So they opted by releasing these MacBook Pros first and now releasing together the Mac Mini with the iMac Pro. But if you think about it, isn't it weird that by releasing the Mac Mini with the iMac Pro, they will cannibalize the iMac Pro sales, or they will just not? Because if they adjust the prices in the right way, maybe it's way worth it to buy the iMac Pro, because for example for only $500 you will get a ProMotion mini LED display, better and one of the best speakers in the game, and a keyboard and a mouse which are incredible, the Magic Keyboard and Magic Mouse. Then it starts to look like it's a very good deal to upgrade for the iMac Pro instead of keeping the cheap side on the Mac Mini. But of course these are only speculations. In my opinion, we will see the iMac Pro for sure, but according to the Mac Mini, maybe it's a wild card, maybe not, depending on what you are thinking, although leakers have suggested that we will see an M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini. But if you don't see one on this event, do not expect it to come out, because after this iMac Pro 27-inch, we will see finally the beast Mac Pro. And when Apple releases the Mac Pro, I doubt they will release together with the Mac Mini, because the Mac Mini will look very, very, very outdated, just because the Mac Pro will cover with an insane Quadro M1 Max, and then Apple never released different chips of Apple Silicon in one event, so they never released an M1 Pro device in the same event. So I do believe that they want to release the same using chip devices on the same event. So if you one computer uses M1 Pro and M1 Max and another uses M1 Pro and M1 Max, then I do believe that it's way more probable that they will release them together in one single event, and then the other more powerful computers will be released later on. Although I do think that this transition will end up in June with WWDC, with the release of the Mac Pro and a new Pro Display XDR with Apple Silicon. So yes, I'm very excited for the next upcoming events, but this is all you can expect for the Apple Spring event. It will come out on March, April, I don't know, we are not sure. When we get closer to the event, maybe we will get precise with the date. Expect John Prosser to release that date 2 weeks before, but this is all we can expect. Like I told you, and recapping, the iPad Air 7th generation with the same design with some updated specs to match the iPad Mini 6. Then we will see the iPhone SE 5G with 5G capabilities and the A15 chip. Then we will see a new color for the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 13. Expect purple, and my bet will be on purple. Then we will see a new Apple Silicon Mac, which will be the 27-inch iMac. Or even we could see the iMac Pro, like I was telling you. This will be a ProMotion 120Hz capable mini LED display, having the M1 Pro and M1 Max chip, even better speakers, and the best all-in-one ever in this business. And being a wild card, but also a possibility, is the Mac Mini with the M1 Pro and M1 Max chip, being the best deal in tech to buy in terms of power by dollar, in terms of performance by price. So, of course, what are your thoughts? What are your favorite devices out of this event? And which one do you think will come out? Which ones do you think won't come out? And tell me on the comments down below which was your favorite and which ones will you buy. Don't forget to like my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This was Tech Sumo talking to you here. Bye.